Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to another fishing report. This weekend, guys, it looks like it's going to be a scorcher out there. It's going to be hot, and we are expecting some stronger winds and some storms on Sunday afternoon, so be paying attention to the weather before heading out onto the lake. But with that being said, let's dive right into this week's fishing report. This week we're going to start up on Lake Winnie. The walleye bite has been pretty strong this past week. Some of the best areas to target those fish are in that 9 to 14 feet of water on weed lines and those shallow humps. Now, the best ways to catch those is pulling spinners with both half a night crawler or leeches, and then on some of those deeper humps they're throwing slip bobbers using leeches and night crawlers as well. Now, as far as the perch bite goes out on Winnie, in Tamarack Bay and on the south shore, they're pulling spinners in 9 to 12 feet of water with leeches and night crawlers and having some success on catching those big perch. Now, as far as the panfish go, the bluegills, they are on the deeper weed lines. Throw slip bobbers with a chunk of a crawler or a small jig head, and you're more than likely going to catch some nice bluegills, especially if you go try over in Big Cutfoot. Now, as far as the musky bite goes, over on the east and west shorelines, they're casting topwaters and bucktails, and they're starting to really pick up some nice muskies out there. The water temps are finally heating up. There's been a good algae bloom, and that's really picking up the musky bite. Now, as far as pike go, the pike are absolutely everywhere as usual. You're going to catch them no matter what you're throwing, but if you want to up your odds, troll some big spoons or spinner baits, and you will catch a ton of pike. Now, as far as the largemouth bass bite goes, the bass are up in the reeds and those deeper weed lines, throwing topwaters, spinner baits, some tubes up in there, and they're catching some really nice largemouth bass. Now, if you guys are looking for a guide up on Lake Winnie, we highly recommend Scott from zupsguideservice. Whether you want to book a full day trip or a twilight trip, he has availability for both of those in August and September, and depending on the weather, maybe into October. So if you want to get up, do some fishing with the premier walleye guide on Lake Winnie, give Scott a call and get something on the books. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay, the Pines Resort, they run a great operation there. They have cabins, campsites, full bar and restaurant, dock slips, fish cleaning shack, live bait, whatever you need to make a successful fishing trip, they can help you out with that. They do have availability still in their cabins, so go ahead, give Chad a call and book a stay up at the Pines Resort. All right, now moving over to Mille Lacs Lake. The bite on Mille Lacs Lake has been steady all year long. It has gotten a little bit tougher as we're in those dog days this summer, but tons of fish are still being caught, and there are a few different areas you can look for those walleyes. The first area you can look is in that 14 to 19 feet of water on those shallower rock structures. Throwing slip bobbers with night crawlers and leeches. Night crawlers have been outperforming the leeches this past week, but make sure you have both of those in your boat. Now, the other area you can look for walleyes is out on that deep mud and gravel. That 25 to 32 feet of water has been very productive, pulling bottom bouncers with spinners, slip bobbers, or trolling lead core with crankbaits, and tons of really nice walleyes are being caught. Now, as far as the smallmouth bass bite goes, those smallmouth, the majority of them have pushed out a little bit deeper, that 11 to 18 feet of water. Find those rock structures, those big boulders, that chunky rock. That's where those smallmouth are hanging out. The best ways to catch them right now are on Ned rigs, drop shots, jerk baits. Some guys are still throwing hair jigs, and they're having some really good success. If it's calm and sunny, just a reminder, pull off of that structure, make long casts. Those fish are extremely spooky. If it's overcast and a little bit windy, you can get a little bit closer to the structure and fish them a little more vertical, but make sure you're not being too noisy because those fish are extremely spooky. And one other thing, guys, when working your drop shots and Ned rigs, make sure you're working them extremely slow right now. That will increase the amount of bites you get. And then if you are working a jerkbait, really long pauses, 10-15 seconds, and towards that end of that pause is when most of those bites are going to occur. Now, the perch bite, I have started getting quite a few of those perch reports. They're getting them up on the north side on the mud flats in 21 to 32 feet of water. The best ways to catch those are pulling bottom bouncers with spinners, and then if you do locate a good sized school of them, throwing slip bobbers with half a crawler or a smaller leech. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes, the muskie bite has been very strong out on Mille Lacs Lake. They're getting them on those deeper weed lines in the southern bays and on the north sand weed transitions, and out on the deep water basins, they're getting them open water trolling, and the guys with the live scopes are locating those individual fish, throwing big rubber baits at them, and boating some absolute hog muskies. Now, as far as the pike bite goes out on Mille Lacs, the southern bays have been very good. Purple and white and silver spinner baits and spoons have been working very well. Troll those at about 3 miles per hour and you're more than likely going to catch some really big pike right now. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Mille Lacs Lake, you're looking for a guide trip, or maybe you want to get out on a launch boat, Castles Resort in Isle Bay offers all of that. Their launch trips right now, they're $40. That includes your live bait, your rod and reel. I believe they're even grilling some food out on their trips. Just bring a cooler with your favorite beverages and you can have a blast out on Mille Lacs Lake. So if you're looking to get up to Mille Lacs Lake this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Jeff or Kimberly from Castles Resort. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake. The walleye bite on Leech has started to really pick up. A couple of different areas to look for those walleyes. Main lake reefs in 12 to 18 feet of water and deep weed lines in 10 to 14 feet of water. Now, the two best methods to catch those fish right now, a slip bobber and a leech, or a jig and half of a crawler. Now, when buying leeches, guys, most guys think you need large or jumbo leeches for those walleyes, but actually the small and medium-sized leeches are working a lot better right now. Now, the guys with live scope, they're finding those walleyes. They're throwing slip bobbers on them. If the walleyes won't eat the slip bobber, they're quickly changing over to a 1/16 or 1/8 ounce jig head, putting half a crawler on it. And more times than not, they're getting those fish to eat on one or the other, and they just switch back and forth until they find what those fish want. The evening and after dark crankbait bite is really starting to pick up along Stony Point, the sand flats, 10 to 14 feet of water. There's quite a few of those fish roaming right at dusk and after dark. So trolling crankbaits is starting to really work well. So if you want to do some trolling, go ahead and give that a shot. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes out on Leech Lake, the muskies are pulled up into those shallow structures, the green cabbage, those shallow rock spines. They're throwing topwaters and bucktails, and they are landing some absolute massive muskies out on Leech Lake lately. Now, as far as the smallmouth bass go, you can find those out on the main lake rock structures in 10 to 18 feet of water. Ned rigs, hair jigs, drop shots, those are all working very well. Anything that kind of resembles a crayfish right now is working very well. Now, as far as the panfish go, the bluegills have really pushed out to those deeper weed lines on that cabbage and milfoil. They're in 10 to 14 feet of water. And with them, there are some mixed in crappies, largemouth bass, and some walleyes. So if you want to mix bag, those deeper weed lines in 10 to 14 feet of water are the place to be. Now, if you guys are looking for a guide up on Leech Lake, we highly recommend the guys from Leech Lake Guide Team LLC. Whether you want to fish walleyes, muskies, bass, panfish, there are a bunch of guides on their team. They can help put you on whatever you're looking for. Give them a call, look them up on their website, get something on the books, and I guarantee you will have a blast up on Leech Lake. Now, if you guys are looking for a place to stay up on Leech Lake, we highly recommend Horseshoe Bay Lodge. They have cabins, hotel rooms, condos, full bar and restaurant, a beautiful beach with tons of water toys, indoor pool, hot tub, and sauna. So whatever you need to make your trip an absolute blast, Horseshoe Bay Lodge can help. So go ahead, give Cam or Courtney a call and book a stay at Horseshoe Bay Lodge. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Just a reminder, it's going to be extremely hot this weekend. Make sure you have your sunscreen, plenty of water. If you're planning on bringing your dogs out fishing with you, throw a collapsible water dish in the boat for them as well. Keep them hydrated just like you need to keep yourself hydrated, and you can stay safe while having a ton of fun fishing this coming weekend. Now, remember guys, be kind at the boat ramps, be respectful of other fishermen, have a blast, and most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.